Now, there's confusion about whether or not a national rollout of the second phase of the AARTO Act is already underway in the country. There's a news report suggesting that the system would come into effect, was supposed to be on the 5th of June, but the Road Traffic Infringement Agency saying that this is not the case. So let's speak now to Monde Mkalipi Spokesperson of the Road Traffic Infringement Agency. Monde, good evening to you and thank you so much for your time. A lot of people were confused by this particular report. So you are saying it's fake. Tell us more.
Yes, it is fake. Good evening, Bongi, and to the viewers. It is a fake information. Well, as the Road Traffic Infringement Agency, we are really calling upon road users to be really very much cautious on how they treat this type of information, because we are not aware of where it started from, but it was like all over in the media. And we were quick to really indicate that in terms of the process of determining the date for the national rollout, we work very closely with our stakeholders. We are part of the Department of Transport, and that process really involves ensuring that the Department of Transport is on board. And when the announcement is made, it also follows a particular process whereby a proclamation gets to be signed by the President and the date gets to be published in the Government Gazette. So that process never took place. All that you can indicate now is that, well, ARTO, it is operational in the two jurisdictions in the country, which is in Tshwane as well as in Joburg. As you have rightly pointed out now, we are preparing to roll out for the second phase, which will mean that ARTO will be introduced in the additional 67 jurisdictions in the country. So that process of the 67 is going to wait for us to receive that proclamation. And from there,
Monde,
we're going to proceed to the additional 844 jurisdictions in the country.
Yeah, pardon me. I just have to say this. Of course, I mean, some of the people are watching us tonight and they're wondering, because you're saying that they must be extra vigilant as to, with the information that they get. But how does a person then, fact check or even verify? Because, for example, some people are not even going to be rushing to see if there's a gazette and all of that. What could be the one thing they look out for that says this is fake?
Well, I think we should really look at what the law says in the country, because in terms of making mention of when a particular legislation comes into effect, we should really check as to which entity is really responsible for that. In this case, the Road Traffic Infringement Agency, who are the custodian of this particular legislation, we're working with the Department of Transport, and in most instances, it is the President who signs the proclamation and a public announcement is made. So if that process has not been followed, there's no pronouncement that has been made by the relevant agency or the department, or a pronouncement in the form of a Government Gazette. So we should take that information as being fake. So it's quite important that we familiarize ourselves with those processes to make sure that we don't fall prey of information that is incorrect that goes out in the media.
Now, yeah.
Yes.
Monde, you know that, of course, when you speak about the AARTO Act, right, a lot of people move towards the Demerit system to find out whether is it in place or not. That's always the conversation that some people ask themselves. And I know there's a draft proclamation that's looking at issues, for example, around the appeals tribunal, etc., and some of, the laws there. But one is, of course, wanting to know tonight, because some are asking, is the Demerit system in place? Is it not? Is it part of phase 2? There seems to be also a bit of confusion there. Let's clarify it for the viewers.
ARTO, as we speak now, is operational in Johannesburg and in Tshwane. Those are just few provisions of the ARTO Act. We are talking there about the ARTO elective options. People who reside in the two jurisdictions will tell you that there are options that are provided by the ARTO Act in terms of the 50% discount, in terms of the representation, in terms of the right to nominate a driver or to elect to be tried in court. So those are just the first provisions that are in place at the moment in Johannesburg and in Tshwane. The national rollout will take us to the 67 additional jurisdictions. The points demerit system is not yet effective anywhere else in the country. The same applies with the rehabilitation program. The points demerit system and the rehabilitation program will come in only on the third phase of the rollout of the ARTO Act. So we are not yet there now, Bongi. So we are going to make the pronouncement in as far as that is concerned. We are hoping that such information will also go into the proclamation that will be published as soon as all the information has been collected, as soon as we have also liaised with all our stakeholders in the country. So at the moment, the points demerit system is not yet in place, as well as the rehabilitation program. We are going to make an announcement as to when those are coming into effect with the relevant dates.
And what are the time frames, if one may ask?
Well, there is a big process, Bongi, that we're still embarking upon of ensuring that all the stakeholders are satisfied in the process, including the various municipalities in the country, because you'll recall that we also need to have resolutions passed by municipalities on the implementation of ARTO. At the moment, only 2 jurisdictions have done that in the country, as well as the process of compiling all the documentation that it will be required for the signing of the proclamation by the president. We are working on that with the Department of Transport. So as soon as all the stakeholders, especially the Department of Transport, as soon as they are satisfied that we have been able to gather all the required information, it's only then that they will take the information to the presidency for the president to proclaim the date for the implementation of ARTO to the rest of the jurisdictions in the country.
Monde, I appreciate the clarification tonight. Thank you so much for chatting to us. That was Monde Mkalipi, spokesperson of the Road Traffic Infringement Agency.